Meanwhile.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Ed Gasket. If you are new to this channel, my name is Ed, and I hope you enjoy and learn something in today's video. If you do, be sure to subscribe to the channel. That way I can continue to make you more content like what you're about to see right over here. In today's video, I'll show you how to restore this old exhaust. Now, all the principles in this video apply to any motorcycle, ATV, or in our case, yep, you guessed it, a 1980s Honda three-wheeler. So that exhaust goes with a brand new build that I'm welcoming to the channel. Now, this is one of Honda's rarest three-wheelers that they ever made, and I got a really good deal on it. So if anybody asks, I got a really good deal on it. Guys, there's nothing worse than an instructional YouTube video with tons of wasted time. So without further ado, let's get out our wire brushes and begin wire brushing. So those wire brushes took off all the rust and all the old paint and the dirt, so we're just about ready to clean and repaint this exhaust. But before we do that, we want to fix any damage that we can. In this case, you see the end of the exhaust tip right here is pretty mangled. So I'll take that small Dremel tool, fix this right up, then I'll use the wire brushes on the Dremel and get in all the nooks and crannies where we couldn't reach with the large brush. All right, so our heat shield and our muffler are now free from all rust and loose paint chips, but unfortunately all that stuff is now all over the garage. So I'm gonna go ahead and vacuum up all the dust so we don't contaminate our pieces, so that we can officially prep these with wax and grease remover to make sure that they're ready for a few coats of paint. So in order to prep the surface of this muffler for paint, what we have to do is use 3 different techniques of surface preparation. The first will be with compressed air through this blow-off nozzle, just to remove all the big chunks of dirt. The second will be a bath of water with Simple Green to degrease the surface. We'll let that dry, and lastly, we'll hit it with some acetone on the surface to allow that to evaporate and have for a completely dust-free, contaminant-free surface for our paint to stick to. Alright guys, you can see we've taken a few steps to make sure that this muffler is super clean so that any paint we want to apply to it will adhere really well. As for the paint we're going to use, this is a very high temperature flame-proof header paint, which is essentially what this is. It's designed for high temperatures and has ceramic in it. I'm not sure how much I believe the whole ceramic thing. I know there's a lot of debate as to how much ceramic's actually in these things. Now, spray paint has a really bad rap, but as long as you take the steps beforehand to make sure you get good adherence of the product, there should be no problems down the road. So after 3 hours of dry time, this thing is ready to handle. Now the next best step to make sure the paint is durable is to put it in the oven at 400 degrees for a half hour, then let it cool, and then put it back in the oven at 600 degrees for another half hour. Now that's completely impractical for most of us, so I think I have a better idea. So an alternative method to curing paint, and the method I think you're more likely to follow, is to just remount this exhaust back on the bike. Fire it up, catch up with your buddies, drink about 20 or 30 cold ones, beat the absolute bajingas off this machine like it was designed to, and then put it back into your shed completely covered in mud to be stored for the next 2 to 3 months. That brand new exhaust paint you were so worried about won't know the difference.
Aside from my soul, there goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight from my soul.
A few moments later.
Now this paint job isn't a museum quality restoration. The whole purpose of this job is to make sure that exhaust doesn't rot out from rust, which would leave this machine unrideable because finding a new exhaust would be nearly impossible. So our job as the primary mechanic maintaining this vehicle is to make sure we do everything in our power to keep this thing running on all 3 wheels so it has many years of fun rideability ahead.
Meanwhile.
Guys, thanks for stopping by and checking out today's video. If you're interested in more content, please subscribe to the channel. That way we can continue to learn together and have a great time in the garage. Be sure to leave some feedback in the comments section below, and before you go, hit up Ed Gasket Garage on Instagram if you want to see more updates on these projects between videos. Otherwise, guys, if you need us between now and that next video, we'll be in the garage.